So, whether you're an experienced real estate investor, or you might have even asked yourself at some point, what's a real estate short sale and other advantages to, as an investor, me getting involved? The simple answer is a short sale is ultimately a homeowner that's gotten themselves in a bind. They owe more for their home than what it's currently marketed for, and they need to put it up for sale. Their short sale mortgage is said to be underwater, is the term that they use. And if they can secure a buyer, they're going to have to get the bank to approve selling the home for less than what's owed on it. Today we're going to talk about this. This is a difficult topic for a lot of people. This is typically a scenario where a potential client has gotten themselves into a real difficult financial alignment, and it's going to cost them their home to get out of it. But we're going to talk about this very unique sales process, the legal considerations behind it, where you're going to find short sellable properties as a real estate agent, and tips on how to be successful in doing it, not just as an investor or as a real estate agent on how you can help these people, but how you can do the very, very best representation for these clients. So, what happens in real estate short sale? A real estate short sale is going to occur when a homeowner, again, has got to sell their property for less than what's actually owed as the outstanding balance with their lender's approval only. Typically, this has been initiated because there's some type of financial distress. A short sale is going to require a lot of negotiation strategies with not only the client and not only the potential buyers, but with the sellers. And this will take longer than a normal transaction. While the homeowner is probably trying to avoid foreclosure, the process itself can have some serious credit implications, potential tax consequences as well. The lender is most likely going to report the short sale on their credit bureau. The homeowner is going to have to pay income tax on the difference between the purchase price and the unpaid mortgage balances. And therefore, knowing the market conditions and the regulations surrounding a short sale is going to be essential for the real estate investors and agents to even be involved. So let's talk about some differences first between a short sale versus a foreclosure, because they're close enough, but I don't want people to get confused. The primary difference between these two really lies in the homeowner's involvement. In a short sale, the homeowner is the one that is still selling the property to avoid foreclosure. Foreclosure is a legal process that's initiated when the lender needs to repossess a property due to non-payment. Short sale gives homeowners some control, while foreclosure results in a total property loss. So, short sale can coincide with a pre foreclosure motion that's happening with the bank, meaning the bank is letting the client get the amount of time necessary to either get completely caught up or sell their property before it becomes a complete repossession that would be documented on their credit bureau. A short sale can coincide with these pre foreclosure actions, and then the seller has received some type of notification saying that it is pending foreclosure. And this is where we're going to discuss on how you get eyesight and visibility into whether this kind of thing is coming. A lot of sellers price their home for sale based on what they owe so that they can simply cover the closing expenses. But these homes are often advertised as motivated sellers, or state that they're in pre-foreclosure or in a short sale scenario. These types of sales are going to provide an opportunity to get a really good deal on the home more often than not. But please be conscious. You are dealing with someone that is in a very difficult and pressured mental state as well as a financial state. So you need to be intelligent in the way that you're talking with them and have the empathy necessary to be tolerant for what the average person would be considered a bunch of excuses, or thinking that somebody's didn't make good decisions or whatever. With the amount of job loss and percentages of unemployment that have happened throughout the United States over the last 4 years, I can tell you that this is going to become more and more common, especially in the last year, and where people have bought homes at the highest interest rates that we have seen in a very long time. Now taxes and insurance compile on top of that with their increasing rates. It's going to be difficult for people to be able to pay their note, and ultimately they're going to be in a position of distress. Short sales come with a lot of legal considerations. So you must absolutely consult with a legal professional while you're involved in this. And it's going to be essential for all parties involved to avoid some pitfalls. Investors need to be very cautious of anti-flipping regulations and potential tax implications like capital gains tax or taxable income events in the forgiven debt, and ensure that the contract with their lender is going to allow for flexibility for potential delays. They must be mindful of how this impacts the interest rates and the terms of the property that they're going to be purchasing. Obtaining that clear title is going to be critical. So the investors and the real estate agents need to make absolutely sure that they are conducting comprehensive research and the due diligence phase. Inspect the property's condition, the title condition, any existing liens or encumbrances. Make absolutely sure that you run a local health check on the home as well. Complete inspection and title search is going to ensure that nothing is going to be inheritable as an existing problem by the future buyer. Any clouds on the title, such as outstanding leads or legal disputes, is going to pose a challenge, and there are things that you need to consider to make sure that you're able to get everything cleaned up. Um, there's seller legal considerations, so you got to keep the lender informed of the process, submit the prompt documentation, keep a timeline, so if there's any type of slip, they know what's happening. You need to be able to disclose any material defects of the property. You need to make sure that you've got a lawyer on hand so that you can get advice for possible deficiency judgments that may exist as well. Typically, if people go as far as to lose their homes, there's a lot of other complications that have piled up ahead of that that might be on a wave about to hit the property too. You also need to be able to disclose potential risks of the short sale to the buyers that are coming down the pipeline to potentially invest in the property. Buyer legal considerations are things that you need to take into account as well. You've got to conduct the due diligence on title and property condition with inspections and the title searches. You got to make sure to negotiate your purchase price terms to ensure the agreement will address the lender approval. Ultimately, the lender, the bank, they've all got to agree to selling the property for less than is owed. So there is a lot of legal counsel that is going to be involved, and a lot of things that are going on in the market may affect their ability to give you a quick decision. Ensure the buyer financing can sustain a lengthy process. So unless the buyer is buying it cash and they are willing to be flexible, if they've got an investment bank on the line with them, you want to make sure to have a consistent three-way call with them to tell them the status of the process and how things are moving along. Do short sales work for investors, and how? Short sale homes are a lot more involved than a traditional home sale. A lot of people have the impression that, hey, there are some short sales or there are foreclosures coming. I can get a good deal on this. Where that is true, it requires a lot of patience, coordination, and a thorough understanding of the process. And challenges mount fast when it comes to this type of property purchase. A seller has to maximize the seller's home value, while the buyer or the investor may seek an opportunity for deep discounts. Suppose you work with a real estate agent to buy and sell a short sale. In that case, the agent's role is going to be to bring the buyer and the seller together, understanding what they're ultimately up against, so that they can make sure that the buyer's offer meets the bank's requirements so they can even get it accepted to get under contract. the seller of the property is not going to be able to just sign off on the sale by themselves. It must have a segregated bank approval, and that has to be attached to the entire process. So, what are the requirements for the sellers to get the short sale completed? Homeowner has to know how to initiate a short sale with the bank. So, before even listing the home, must have a conversation for the potential short sale with the bank that currently owns the lien on the home. The seller has to prepare and provide the documentation showing that they are in a financial need, what they call hardship. They're going to need to be asked that they have no other resources to be able to cover missed payments, fees, or the remaining mortgage balance if the home sells below what's owed. Obviously, as a real estate agent, your job would be to still maximize the opportunity of the pricing of the home based on what the market is doing in the surrounding area. Do not overprice, especially in this situation, and do not be overly patient expecting a bunch of people to get involved in a home that may even be in disrepair. Let me give you a quick list of information that a lender might require from the seller before even agreeing to the short sale. They've got to adequately prove that there is a hardship with a hardship letter and the evidence to support the excuse. A copy of the purchase agreement, if applicable, showing that someone is willing to buy the home and what they're willing to buy the home for. Most recent tax returns, pay stubs from the borrower if those exist, bank retirement accounts, etc., other real estate owned, um, students, cars, personal loans, all of those types of things have to be disclosed. If there's any credit cards with remaining balances, full budgeting worksheet, and you've got to, as a real estate agent, you've got to run a comprehensive market analysis against this property to show that you're not just lowballing the price by bringing the first buyer that you can get in front. This may and will also affect the amount of commission that you can negotiate. You cannot put further hardship into the situation by asking for the top of the market commission request and expect the bank to pay it. It simply won't work. So what do you have to do to buy an actual short sale home and represent the buyer on that side? Buying short sale homes involves research, a lot of education, and due diligence, most of all, patience. The buyer and those that are looking to actually invest in real estate needs to understand that the potential risks and challenges for purchasing a short sale, like extended deadlines, selling towards a lender's approval, there's a lot of considerations that they're going to need to make so they can understand the process and what they're going to actually have to be going through. Market research, for example, they need to understand what the local real estate market is doing and the property values to make the informed decisions. Typically, short sales are not a one-off. Pre-foreclosures are not a one-off. Something has happened, not just in one person's life, but potentially in an entire industry in an area. If there has been a large business or a large industry or facility that has gone under, or a business that has moved out of the local town, it's going to affect all of the earnings of the area. And that's going to cause not only a problem for people to sell their homes, but an even bigger problem for people to move in and purchase homes because they're not going to want to move into an area that they don't have income potentials either. Financing. Getting pre-approvals for financing so that they can demonstrate the ability to buy at the readiness and getting that to the seller's lender is going to help as well. But you need to understand this is not just a lowball opportunity. This is a scenario where it's going to take more than just an expert real estate agent to guide you through the wickets. You're going to have to choose an agent that understands the specific type of financing that you're going to need. You're not going to necessarily be able to take advantage of first-time home buyer programs, for example, or DPA programs to help with down payment. These are things that you're going to have to pretty much take off the table. Be prepared to put a large down payment down and follow all of the guidelines of the buyer's lender to be able to purchase successfully through the seller's lender. I mentioned patience a couple of times. You need to recognize that a short sale is going to involve extended timelines due to the negotiations with the seller's lender. So be very open and honest with that up front. It will take a minimum of 90 days unless you have already gone through the process and they have all of their documentation ready. And typically that's not advantageous to a lender, a lien holder on the home that's being sold to get that ready in advance. So agents and investors request that up front if at all possible. The legal assistance, you want to make absolutely sure that you've got, again, a lawyer's guidance and a real estate attorney at that to navigate some of these legal complexities. Legal language can get in the way, specialty terms that are going to get in the way between 1 and 2 are things that you want to be absolutely aware of. So post-purchase renovations, plan for necessary repairs, and real estate attorneys are going to get push those guidelines a little bit so they can be discovered during due diligence. And then, of course, contingency planning. You've got to have backup plans for potential challenges and be prepared for longer than usual closing processes. There are a lot of pros and cons of a real estate short sale. Short sales can provide some relief for a distressed seller, and ultimately that's the goal. Still may negatively impact their credit less than a foreclosure. However, a short sale is going to take longer to close. The seller is going to still face some damage to their credit scoring if they haven't already. And there are some other pros and cons that you need to consider regarding those things as well. It's a long list. If you would like that list published to you, please just comment in the links below, and I'm happy to get that out to you. Real estate short sale process. So now that you're clear on what an actual short sale is, now it's time to learn how a short sale is conducted. Whether you're an investor buying or selling short sale properties, or whether you are a real estate agent walking through this, it's important that you are carefully employing these transaction steps to make sure that they're successful for all people involved. So step 1, homeowner distressed short sale options with the bank. All short sales begin with a conversation between the seller and the mortgage lender. It is not the same as getting a lender approval. Approval is where the lender has reviewed a buyer's offer and agrees to allow the seller to proceed with the transaction. This meeting is for the seller to learn more about the bank's short sale requirements, what they do and do not allow. The lender may also provide a list of items that they need from the seller to decide if a short sale is even feasible. It just may not be something that they're into. Number 2, real estate agent preparing that CMA. A comprehensive market analysis is that report that is prepared typically by real estate agents or investors to determine fair market value of a property. The agent's going to collect the market data, the comparable properties that have recently sold and are currently for sale in that community. Agents are also going to include expired listings to show that there are similar homes that did not sell due to overpricing. The bank may require this CMA to support the seller's listing price. That will help them determine whether or not the seller is just trying to get out of the home as fast as possible at the first offer that comes in the door, versus if we get an offer inside of this range, it is something that we need to be acceptable to talking about. Step 3, the home is listed for sale. The seller actually lists the homes with an agent and begins the advertisement of the property, or a seller's list if there's a for sale by homeowner scenario. An agent will disclose the short sale itself in the listing details, so prospective buyers will understand that their offers are subject to the selling lender's approval. This is going to be essential because some of the buyers are going to need quick closing to move forward with their plans. Then, marketing to spread the word. Short sales can be marketed just like a regular listing through an online site, social media, and MLS. Yard signs, brochures, flyers, all of that still applies here. Investors also can find them in open houses and property tours. Sellers of short sale properties may not want a for sale sign in their at their home address because it kind of puts them on the spot with their neighbors, etc. And they're not wanting to expose that story more than they already have had to. Agents might share the benefit with these marketing options, but ultimately it's the seller's decision on how the property is or isn't marketed. Again, I need you to be empathetic to the situation of the seller and the position that they may be in. They may also be looking for other jobs or other opportunities inside the area. It wouldn't want something like this short sale being advertised in a way that makes them look like they're in a more desperate situation than they actually may be. Number 5, interested buyers are allowed to make offers. So the buyers that are interested in the short sale will submit an offer and they're made aware of the complexities from day one. When the offer is accepted, the seller will present to the lender for approval. You've got to recognize that the potential for rejection is a lengthy short sale timeline. It's up to the lender to allow the sale to proceed. So make sure you've already had that introductory meeting. You have a point of contact at the bank or the lending company that you're going to be working with, and that's the person that you're going to consistently communicate on. Typically, they work in an REO or a repossessions department specifically for the bank or the lender. So they will have all of the insight necessary to be able to complete this transaction as quickly as possible and allowable by the bank with you. Agents need to carefully prepare these offers and acknowledges the nuances of the particular short sale and with this particular lender. Again, if the introductory meeting with the bank went well, you'll have all of the documentation and additional disclosures that you need to add to the offer to make it acceptable to the prime lender today. Then you get to due diligence. This would be step 6. Buyers in a short sale must conduct home inspections. They need to make absolutely sure they've got a complete and a local municipality title search, validate the assets in the market value. They're going to make sure that they notify their lender that they are making an offer on a short sale property so that everybody understands that they, when and if they can lock in favorable interest rates, for example, or even understand mortgage extension policies and fees and those kinds of things if it occurs. These are the type of actions that will help you ensure a smooth transaction with the financing of the buyer. Step 7, sellers helping to find suitable housing. Real estate agents should also work this as an opportunity to help someone that's been in a difficult situation find a new place to live. You should help these sellers find suitable housing. Short sale closings going to take time. Landlords may not be able to wait. Lender's going to require a partial or a full loan payment during the short sale process from the seller. So funds may not be available for rental prepaids and rental deposits, etc. First and last month's rent and a security deposit would be very difficult for someone to be justified in this situation and be selling their home because of it. If the seller can afford it, they're going to want to start paying rent in a new place, even if they don't move in immediately, so they can hold something that's going to be a viable option for them moving forward. It is unlikely that there will be net proceeds that the seller gets at closing. They need to have a plan of where they're going to go and how they're going to pay to get there. Listing agents and sellers might be able to figure this out together, and they may be able to even put it in place as a part of the buyer's negotiations. Sellers may be able to move in with friends and family or rent a room at a local motel until they find the rental that they need. But defaulted mortgage payments will damage the seller's credit, so be prepared. Renting is going to prove challenging. Be prepared to help them navigate that story. Honesty is going to be important, but you want to make also absolutely sure that everybody is doing what is necessary to be successful. Step 8, all parties should attend the closing. Buyers officially acquire the property. Agents receive their compensation, whatever they have negotiated. Lenders retain the balance of the proceeds from the sale. Sometimes sellers need to contribute funds to cover the disparity between what was the selling price and the outstanding mortgage. But again, all of that would have been negotiated at that very first meeting on how that's going to happen. Closing marks of the culmination of that short sale process and solidifying the property ownership and compelling financial transactions with the buyers, sellers, and lenders all need to happen. So now that we understand what it is, how it happened, what's the process to get through it, where do you find them? If this is something you're still interested at this point, the rest of this session is for you. How do I find short sales? Investors, please, again, be sensitive when approaching sellers that are in a short sale scenario. Usually these properties are listed for sale and advertised online in the MLS like normal. However, there are going to be those other steps to help find those short sale and investment properties. A few methods that you might be able to use, of course, is networking. The better network you have as an investor, the better you're going to be able to find these things. You can also leverage very heavily a real estate agents network. They will know more of the heartbeat of that particular area than most. Direct mail campaigns can be used by sending targeted traditional snail mail to property owners whose homes are in pre-foreclosure. Pre-foreclosure is a public-facing list. You can purchase them or you can get them at the county clerk's office for free, where these type of properties have been marked to be in this situation. FSBO properties can be found on FSBO websites. Zillow has them, FSBOs themselves market themselves to keep their expenses low and to avoid large real estate commissions. Online listings are there. Again, Zillow, Realtor.com, Craigslist can identify these types of properties for sale too. These sites include FSBOs, distressed properties, pre-foreclosures, and foreclosure homes, meaning that the bank has already taken possession and you will be negotiating strictly with the REO group or with the banker in charge of selling these types of properties. There are probate and estate sales too. Focus on properties that are involved in probate and estate sales where the sellers may be particularly motivated. Families may be interested in selling the property quickly. You can participate in the estate sales and scrutinize public notes and records. This will help you engage with real estate professionals that can also speak to the families and help get a petition together to potentially put together an offer. Bandit signs, everybody's usually familiar with bandit signs. These are for investors seeking investment properties. It helps you as an investor scout for short sales. Just place the signs in targeted areas where they are allowed. We buy houses, those kinds of things are very common, and it'll help people find you in a situation to where they may not have facilities to be sitting on the internet and be looking for another opportunity. And then, of course, social media and online marketing. You definitely want to work with someone that understands how to leverage social media and online marketing. Real estate agents are exceptional at this. Display the ads on their platforms like Facebook and in certain groups where real estate websites and that type of advertising are displayed. It'll allow them to get the services available to attract potential sellers. So posting an ad looking for distressed properties or owners with a call to action that includes a viable solution may work out really well for some people in certain areas. How to be successful in a real estate short sale? You can certainly take some steps when you're setting up a short sale property. This will help the home sell quickly and potentially move towards a smooth closing. You can do home staging. You can list as a motivated seller. You can pre-plan strategies. Since timing is going to be crucial for this successful short sale, having that plan for marketing the property and coordinating a transaction is important. Stay within 10% of market value. While the homeowner needs to extract as much value from the home as possible, it is counterproductive for you to overprice the listing or for you to even list it at its marketable rate. You need to understand that you need to open the aperture that more people are understanding that you're looking to sell the home quickly to help the seller out of their situation. So be prepared. And the banks are understanding too that you're going to have to market the property at a lower price point so it opens up the visibility to people that are already thinking maybe I can get a better deal on this home. Non-financial incentives. Sellers will not be able to offer to help with closing costs or repairs because of financial constraints. However, offering a home warranty for the first year might help, and it only costs a few $100s. You might even be able to work with your real estate agent where they have partnerships that can help get involved in this too. And then, of course, the communication plan. Keeping the buyer and the seller both informed must be maintained. It's a minimum requirement for these types of transactions to be successful. You cannot go dark once you have a contract in place. Everyone is busy. You do not want the buyer to lose interest, and you must make sure that the lender has all the information they need and quickly respond to them when they have a question. So, a couple of questions have popped up. I want to make sure to address some of these. Who pays real estate commissions in a short sale? The lender actually will typically pay the real estate agent commission for the sales proceeds as a part of the seller's closing cost. Again, a real estate agent's primary function is to procure a buyer for a property. Seller doesn't pay it out of pocket, so it's part of the negotiated deal with the lender. And often it's cheaper to pay a real estate agent that already has a relationship in the community for them to just list it on an open REO website and be able to get, maximize the sale price. Is a quick sale and a short sale the same thing? No, no. Good question. A quick sale closes quickly. Short sale involves is selling a property for less than the mortgage balance. Again, so it's going to require lender approval. It will absolutely take longer. However, a quick sale can sometimes be a part of the short sale process as long as that first meeting went well and the buyer's offering enough to satisfy the existing mortgage. Again, closer you are to the property's actual value and making sure that you're paying off all of the debt or as close to the available debt to the bank took the risk. They're wanting to capture as much of that risk back as possible. So keep your numbers so that they make sense. How bad is a short sale for the buyer? Oh, short sale can be good and bad for a buyer. Buyers may secure a property at a discounted price, but they're going to face that lengthy, very uncertain process. There's no guarantees of lender approval, even. Homes are typically in a condition that need a lot of work and can't get the available funds needed from the seller to get those works completed. So you got to be willing to work with a bank or with a specific type of lender that is familiar with these styles of properties and that have probably worked with you in the past or worked with investors like you in the past so that they know how to set you up for success too, so that you can do what's necessary to get the house either readied or back up to a living status so that you can either move in as your primary residence or put it back on the market when the taxable timeline makes sense. How does the short sale affect their credit? This changes all the time, but I can tell you short sale will typically lower their credit score. It's a lot less damaging than a foreclosure would be. There is no ultimate guide to handling a short sale. Much like several of the niches that are out there with real estate, I need you to understand that you're trying to address a very emotional standing from a homeowner. Homeowner got into a position that they didn't even know they could possibly be in. This has potentially destroyed all of the vision of their American dream. Buyers and sellers need to know when engaging in a nuanced transaction like this is good for all parties or whether it isn't. Everybody has got to work diligently to ensure that all the deadlines are met, all the communication is timely, and there is open and honest conversation between all of the steps. And it is painstaking and time consuming and cumbersome and stressful. Set the sellers up for success by getting as much of this documentation ahead of time to the lender so that the lender can prepare themselves for negotiating buyer's contracts. But ultimately, it is up to the bank to proceed. So set yourself up with a good relationship with the REO representative or the person that's going to be handling the pre foreclosure or the foreclosure sales. Ask them all the questions that are necessary to make sure, how do I effectively represent the property and take care of your needs as the bank to get this done quickly and efficiently for any prospective buyer that I find. Tough topic today. If the market continues to swing in different directions, short sales and foreclosures shake loose. Because of the higher interest rates that we've been dealing with for several years now, it's going to make it difficult when job changes or when the economic strains start to make a direct impact on the people that bought a home during higher pricing. Be open, be empathetic, and above all, listen and be honest with what the capabilities are of you being able to help these people. I appreciate each and every one of you joining me on a Saturday morning. Please go out and enjoy a beautiful weekend and do good business. Thank you all for coming today. Have a great day now. Recording has stopped.